Masataka Yoshida made his big return to the Red Sox lineup, and boy, did he make some serious noise.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Maljanian, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I'm here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part, it's completely free, no charge. So make sure you continue to tune in because Locked On is here for you every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Welcome to the show. Happy Thursday and happy Red Sox get another series sweep day. 2 consecutive sweeps against the Nationals and the Rockies. Like I've said multiple times on the show, those are the types of teams that you need to pounce on if you're the Boston Red Sox and you're trying to gain ground in the division and playoff standings. And as a result, the Red Sox balled out and found themselves back in a playoff spot. Now, what's really exciting about all of this is that they have gained some momentum, and they don't even have Alex Bregman back in the lineup. So that's something to look forward to. They are currently tied with the Seattle Mariners for the last wild card spot, and hopefully just moving up and up and up. What exactly does this sweep prove about this Boston Red Sox team? I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later on today's show, as well as is Kristian Campbell in jeopardy? But first, the big news of the day yesterday was that Masataka Yoshida made his return to the Red Sox lineup after missing the entirety of the season so far. And he had certainly been missed because he was a key aspect of the Red Sox lineup last year, and he fueled a lot of firepower within the offense. Now, Yoshida certainly had his struggles in which he was inconsistent, and we did find that to be a problem with him for certain portions of the season last year, but once he settled into not really playing in the outfield and just hitting and being the primary DH, he was able to find a little bit more success. I definitely would like to see a little bit more consistency from him this season, but he looked really good in his Red Sox return. They won 10-2 against the Rockies last night, and he went 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. So he got his first RBI on his first night back. And guess what? That literally ties Connor Wong in RBIs on the season. How sad is that? Connor Wong has driven in 1 run this year in all the games he's played. Masa Yoshida has driven in 1 run in the 1 game he's played. Fun fact, that's a batting average of 750 since he went 3 for 4. So 750 batting average, 750 on base percentage, and 1,000 slugging. Imagine if he kept that up. Definitely not going to happen, but good sign that he is back and better than ever. And he just looked confident at the plate last night. He was swinging at pitches that he should have been swinging at, and he was getting them through the infield, and he was able to get hit after hit after hit to help fuel the fire in the Red Sox lineup. Now, the Red Sox lineup is on fire as it is right now, recording 15 hits to go along with the 10 runs last night. And as of late, this Red Sox offense has really found a stream of success. And a lot of the reason for that is because the offensive approach of this team in general has changed. They are no longer approaching every at-bat with the sentiment of trying to hit a home run. They are approaching their at-bats more with a sense of awareness of pitch selection and just trying to make good contact. And as a result, guys are getting on base and they're utilizing their speed to be able to advance into scoring position, making it easier for the next guy to come up to the plate and do the same thing. So they're making contact, and the number of strikeouts has reduced. In last night's game, the Red Sox only had 5 strikeouts as a team, with 2 of those coming from Trevor Story, who still has been hot this season as of late. In the last couple weeks, he has put together some really strong numbers offensively, and his defense, goes without saying again, made a couple really nice plays last night in the game. One with a throw to home to throw out a base runner trying to come home, and another play in the field to stop a ground ball that came to him. So Story defensively, top tier, but offensively, he really has shown a lot of improvement over the last few weeks, but really more like the last month or so. But the Red Sox offensive approach in general has changed. And now you slotted Masataka Yoshida back into the mix. And if he can provide the same ounce of production that he gave last year, or even a little bit more, this is going to be a very scary offense. This offense as of right now is deadly. And obviously it needs to remain consistent in order to stay that way. But you have guys that have really surprised in this lineup, like Abraham Toro and Carlos Narvaez, who have really been key contributors on the offensive end for this Red Sox team. And the big bats you were kind of missing because of the fact that Alex Bregman got hurt and Masataka Yoshida had been sidelined, and then Rafael Devers got traded. We were kind of thinking who are going to be the big bats in the lineup. And that's where I said Wilyer Abreu and Trevor Story are going to make the difference and are going to have to fill those shoes of being the big bats in the lineup. And so far, both of them, Abreu since coming back from injury and Trevor Story over the last month or so, have certainly filled those shoes and taken on that role of being big bats in the lineup, who are bringing a lot of big plate appearances and big crushing at bats to the plate for this team. And that's what we really need to see. But Yoshida is a guy who will give you that value and that production. He does have to continue to remain confident in swinging at the off-speed pitches that are in the strike zone, because that's something that gave him trouble last year, was he would shy away sometimes from those pitches. And he also wouldn't be as effective with being able to hit them, and he would swing and miss a lot at the off-speed stuff. So pitchers kept throwing off-speed pitches to him because they figured out that he was a lot more of a fastball guy who was a ground ball merchant. Now he's hoping to expand on that a little bit and be more confident with a lot of different types of pitches being thrown his way. And Alex Cora, upon Yoshida's return, explained how excited he is to have him back and reiterated that he's going to help this lineup, which 100% he is, especially even just if he gave the same performance that he gave last year, which obviously wasn't the best hitter on the team, but helped the team more than harmed it. And that's certainly the goal here. So Alex Cora discussed how everybody's going to be utilized now that Yoshida is back. He said everybody's on board with what's going on. Everybody understands what we're all about, what we're trying to accomplish, and there's no complaints. He explained that he's going to mix and match guys because there is always going to be an outfielder that's going to have to sit, because prior to Yoshida coming back, they were able to get away with rotating the DH role for one of those outfielders. So they all were playing in every game, primarily with Roman Anthony, Wilyer Abreu, Sadam Rafaela, and Jaron Duran. But now that Yoshida is back, who's more of the full-time DH, they did say that he might play a little bit in the outfield too, but primarily they want him to DH again. Now they just have to rotate, and there's going to be an outfielder who is sidelined for each of these games. So everybody is okay with that, and everybody's just okay to sit when they need to sit, because they're here for the ultimate goal of what this team is about, which is to win. And I'm glad everybody's on the same page. Alex Cora communicated with them about the plan, and everybody's just excited to have Yoshida back. He put together some really nice at-bats in last night's game when he was playing for the first time since September 27th, 2024. It looked like he did not miss a beat. So it's great to have him back. He is going to help spark this Red Sox offense. I have no doubt about it. And I am so excited to see them continue to hopefully win more games. And speaking of winning games, the Red Sox did a lot of winning games this past week. What does this sweep over the Colorado Rockies say about the 2025 Boston Red Sox? If you're looking to score last-minute tickets to any event, you should 100% look at Gametime. It happens to me all the time because I have friends who are poor planners and they don't know how to make plans in advance. So we decide last minute, hey, we're going to go to a Red Sox game. So you can say, okay, let's look and see about cheap tickets. That's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they have incredible last-minute deals and really clear seat views so that you know you're getting the best deal possible. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. It really does guarantee you the lowest price. I promise you, I have not used any other ticketing vendor since I've started using Gametime. The 2025 Boston Red Sox, are they back? Are they making their way towards back? It certainly seems to feel like we can start to hopefully answer one or both of those questions. And prior to the Red Sox facing the Nationals, I sat here and I said, these two series upcoming are imperative. They have to go out there and they have to stomp on these teams. And I really do mean stomp on these baseball teams. And what did they do? That's exactly what they did. They crushed the Nationals 3 games in a row. I mean, the third game of that series, they only won by a couple runs, but they still were in command for that game. Then they went and they smoked the Rockies 3 times. They did exactly what needs to be done. They scored the most runs of any team in a 10-run game span this season. So essentially, now that I got all tongue-tied with that, in a 10-game span over the course of this season, the Red Sox have scored the most runs of any team over that time. So basically, they just put up a bunch of runs in the last 10 games, is essentially what you need to know about that. And a lot of that had to do with the production of their offense, specifically a guy named Ceddanne Rafaela, who was actually out of the lineup last night in Yoshida's return in the midst of a 6-game hitting streak during which he hit .417 with 6 doubles, 3 home runs, and 8 RBIs, and he got a night off. And Nate Eaton was optioned to AAA Worcester by the Red Sox, and right-handed pitcher Nick Birdy was transferred to the 60-day injured list in a corresponding roster move to make room also for Yoshida. So basically, Alex Cora explained all of this. He said somebody is going to have to sit every day because there's a logjam in the outfield, and it's going to rotate. Rafaela deserved a day off after how much he's been contributing as of late. And Alex Cora basically explained that it's not a knock on anybody. It's just a way to keep getting guys in. And Rafaela, I'm sure, will be in the Red Sox lineup tonight against the Tampa Bay Rays, and it'll be somebody else that's sitting. But this Red Sox lineup has really been heating up. Romy Gonzalez is another one that has been producing a lot consistently. And that platoon of Toro and Romy has worked out really well so far for the Boston Red Sox. So lots of players to be excited about. What exactly does this sweep prove about this Boston Red Sox team? That's the question that people are asking, because there's been a lot of talk on social media of, oh, it's just the Rockies, or, oh, it's just the Nationals. Yes, while that is the case, what would have happened if the Red Sox didn't take care of business against those two teams was it would have been a horrific conversation of this Red Sox team needs to sell. They are in a terrible spot. They can't even beat a team like the Rockies. So the biggest thing to understand about this is the Red Sox struggled against the White Sox earlier in the season last year and dropped some games against them when they had no business losing those games. Those are the types of games that you have to win. And the Red Sox going out there and taking care of business against the Nationals and the Rockies is a huge step up from what we've seen previously with this Red Sox team. So that's a big thing that I like. This sweep proves that the Red Sox are resilient. They want to win, and they're really enjoying where they're at right now. Even Roman Anthony has said it's really fun to win. So, yes, it's the Rockies, and the real test for the Red Sox starts now, tonight against the Rays. 4 games against the Rays going into the All-Star break. Then they come out of the break, and they have the Cubs, Phillies, and Dodgers on the schedule. All playoff teams. That is going to be a real test for the Red Sox of where they are actually at. They play the Dodgers at home, but the Phillies and Cubs both on the road. They have to perform well against those teams because after those series are over, after they wrap up against the Dodgers, the trade deadline is only a few days after that. So those series there will really give Craig Breslow a sense of where this Red Sox team is at, because we have seen this where the Red Sox have gone on a nice little winning streak like this, but then they'll slump back into 500 baseball. And they are now 4 games over 500 for the first time all season long. And that's because they've been able to take advantage of their schedule. And it wasn't just these 6 games that they've played well in. They also won their series against the Reds prior to those 2 series. So that's another scenario in which the Red Sox capitalized. So you have to capitalize against the bad teams, but you also need to be able to beat the good teams. And what this sweep proves is that the Red Sox are not even close to dead. In fact, they are very much in their division right now, even still. The Blue Jays are still in first place. They did lose last night, so the Red Sox gained a game on them and are 5.5 games out of first place. But the Red Sox are just a game and a half behind their upcoming opponent in the Tampa Bay Rays. They are also 3 games back from the second place Yankees. So they are right in the mix. And if they can pull off at least a split against the Rays, preferably they win the series, but I'll still happily take a split, they could be in a good spot heading into the All-Star break. They have to be able to take advantage of not being that far behind Tampa Bay right now, because they could get to the point where they hop over some of these teams that they are up against in their division, primarily the Rays, but also even maybe the Yankees, who have not been necessarily playing very well as of late. The Red Sox are 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Blue Jays are 9-1, although the Blue Jays did break last night a 10-game win streak that they were on. Natural happens to every team. You're not going to win all the time. So this is a big series here that the Red Sox have coming up, because this is a series in which they can really capitalize on where they are at in the standings, and they can prove that they have the capability of competing with those top tier teams, as opposed to just taking advantage of the weaker teams and then not being able to compete at all against the teams that are really strong. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this next series brings, but the Red Sox sweeping both the Nationals and the Rockies shows that they can get out there and play competent baseball when they need to. I mean, no errors in the game last night for the Red Sox. They've been playing a sound defense much better as of late. And it really just shows that they are a team that you can't really rule out. I mean, losing one of the 3 games against the Rockies would have been a really bad look in the moment, because people would have been like, wow, they couldn't even beat the lowly Rockies. But then you look back on it after the fact and it's like, all right, well, at least they won the series. But they went and they swept both the Nationals and the Rockies, so nobody can say anything about it. And it shows that they are very comfortable right now. They are playing with a sense of urgency and fire, and they want to win. And the results are showing, especially with the offense. The sweep shows that the Red Sox offense has the capability of scoring a bunch of runs on any given night. And that's something that you don't find with every offense every day, is a team that's just exploding for runs consistently. And what does it also say? That maybe the Red Sox are actually in a better spot than they were with Rafael Devers, because Devers was traded, and now all of a sudden the Red Sox offense has just been exploding. Now, granted, again, we have to see how things go this weekend against the Tampa Bay Rays in order to fully draw conclusions on this. But with the offensive numbers that this Red Sox team has been putting up as of late, it's hard to argue that they are not in a better spot than they were. So maybe Craig Breslow was actually onto something when he traded Devers, because maybe he felt like the clubhouse vibes really would be better without him. And maybe he felt like we believe enough in the guys that we have to where they can produce at a really high level if Rafael Devers is not on the team anymore. Obviously, not the only reason. Like I talked about, the offensive approach has been different, and their pitching has been giving them a lot between Brayan Bello and Lucas Giolito, who both have elevated their game over the last month. That's another factor in all of this that has helped the Red Sox a lot to succeed, has been the growth of those two pitchers over the course of this last month, and them pitching deep into games and providing length for the Red Sox. But the offense has been an absolute explosion as of late. They have just scored lots of runs, double-digit runs for the majority of this win streak that they're on against the Nationals and the Rockies. So hopefully they can continue the offensive onslaught against the Tampa Bay Rays. But the sweep proved this Red Sox team is resilient, and you cannot sleep on them or rule them out. Is Kristian Campbell's place on the team in jeopardy? I'm going to be discussing that next. I've been in a job in which calls are crucial. In the past, it was all of my business was operating through talking to people. I worked in recruiting for a bit, and everything was talking on the phone to candidates or clients about having us fill roles for them for jobs. And if I missed calls, I would lose out potentially on a lot of money. So that's when I started using OpenPhone, which is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. If you find yourself juggling two phones just to keep business and personal calls separate, OpenPhone solves that instantly. OpenPhone is offering Locked On Red Sox listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. That's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnMLB. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. It really is a lifesaver if you're in that kind of field where you rely a lot on the phone. The Red Sox are coming off of a sweep over the Colorado Rockies, and also another sweep before that over the Washington Nationals. And this is a Red Sox team that's fun to watch, piling on all these runs, having their starting pitchers give them long outings. And the promising aspect of that is that the bullpen is very well rested now heading into this upcoming series against Tampa Bay, because this is the type of series where you want your pitchers to be healthy. Isaiah Campbell came in, who was recently recalled from AAA Worcester. He pitched last night, and he threw 2 innings, giving up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. He did give up those runs on a homer. He was not super sharp, but you know what? He finished the game for the Red Sox. He threw 24 pitches with 17 of those being strikes. Lucas Giolito got the win, throwing 6 innings, giving up 4 hits and no runs with 6 strikeouts. He threw 92 pitches, 63 of those being strikes. And then Jorge Alcala came in and pitched 1 inning, and he had 1 strikeout but gave up no runs. So having these pitchers performing at the level in which they are has been an absolute game changer for this Red Sox team. And while we think about the future and the present and where this Red Sox team is at, if Lucas Giolito and Brayan Bello continue to pitch the way that they are, they can be a playoff roster and a playoff starting rotation. And you think about where the roster is at and what the playoff roster could potentially look like if they make it. Is Kristian Campbell somebody who's going to be on that? There have been rumblings as of late about the Red Sox potentially trading for Minnesota Twins pitcher Joe Ryan. He currently has a 2.76 ERA on the season with an 8-4 record and 116 strikeouts for the Twins, and he has been named to his first All-Star game this year. He's having a very good season for Minnesota right now, and the Twins have basically said that they would only move him if they are 100% completely out of contention this year, and if the package that they get blows them away. So for the Red Sox, if they really want to trade for a guy like this, they have a package that they could put together. They are probably at an advantage over a lot of other teams in terms of the type of package that they can offer to get a guy like that. And Kristian Campbell is a player who they could potentially include in that type of deal. He is currently in AAA Worcester for the team right now. He had a really hot first month of his rookie season. The entire month of April, he was really strong at the plate. Then he started to dip down, and the Red Sox decided, okay, he would be better off taking some reps in AAA to work on certain things. So that's where he's at right now. He definitely needs to work on lifting and pulling the ball more. That's something that he struggled with in the majors. And he definitely also has to work on pitch recognition and selection. After his initial hot streak, pitchers started to find a sequence that fooled him, and he just could not break out of it. So the swing selection is definitely something that the Red Sox want to hone in on with him at the AAA level. So there are certain skills in his game that they want him to perfect before he gets another shot in the majors. He has a 34% K percentage in Worcester right now, and he's not squaring the ball up when he does make contact. So he's still trying to work through some of those swing adjustments. But the question is going to be, is he going to be able to work through those adjustments enough to get called back up to the Red Sox, or will he not be in a Red Sox uniform by the trade deadline? With the way things are going with the second base situation right now for the Red Sox, they really do feel like there's hope there that Kristian Campbell is the second baseman of the future, but they have Marcelo Meyer, they have Alex Bregman, who's going to come back and play third base, and they could end up sending Marcelo Meyer back down to AAA when Bregman comes back, or they could make a different roster move to make room for Bregman. But either way, with Trevor Story at shortstop and Alex Bregman at third base, if they really want to keep Marcelo Meyer around on that roster, then they have to put him at second base because there's really no other spot to put him. And then they could still platoon Romy and Toro at first base because they've been red hot there. So then the question becomes, where does that leave Campbell? The Red Sox are in an interesting predicament because part of this has to do with if they are able to extend Bregman or not. Because if they don't extend Bregman and they decide they're going to trade him, or he ends up opting out of his contract at the end of this year and he goes to free agency, which would be terrible because I really think he's a must keep on this Red Sox team, then they have to figure out where they're at that point. Because if they lose Alex Bregman, then Marcelo Meyer could play third base more frequently because Trevor Story would probably stay at shortstop, and then they could call up Kristian Campbell again to play second if they feel like he is still the second baseman of the future. But if they feel like they have other options internally that they could go to for second base, or if they feel like the way that Campbell is playing isn't something he can really improve on at the major league level, so they don't really feel like he fits with the organization anymore, he could be a player that they could potentially move for a pitcher like Joe Ryan. Because if the Red Sox are really looking to shore up their rotation and bullpen at the trade deadline, Ryan is somebody who could be a really good fit, but it's going to cost a pretty hefty package. The password, Joe Stinson Garcia, is balling out at the AAA level right now. He's somebody to keep an eye on. And a name that could potentially be floated around in trade rumors. Jarren Duran and Wilyer Abreu, other guys who potentially could be moved for pitching. But Kristian Campbell is a prospect who could be highly desirable for a lot of teams because he is athletic and fast, and he has a lot of skills that he brings to the table. And he was a highly regarded prospect in the Red Sox system for a reason. Floated through the Red Sox farm system and kind of moved through it very quickly because he showed a lot of ounce of special play in his game. So I think there are definitely teams that would be interested in him. So definitely keep an eye on Kristian Campbell's name. Could he be traded? I think the possibility is higher than you might think because of the fact that the Red Sox do know where their holes are in this roster and where they need to improve. And the Red Sox organization, primarily Craig Breslow, has not shown that he's at all afraid of moving somebody if it's best for the team. Even if he gets backlash from the fan base, he'll still do it. Even if it's a big name, he'll still do it. He's about, I want to do what I feel is best for the team. And if what's best for the team could be to move on from Kristian Campbell, maybe that ends up being the case. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. I do like Joe Ryan. I think he could be a really good fit in Boston, but it depends on how big the package is. And if the Red Sox would have to give up too much, I'm not doing it. Thank you for tuning into Locked On Red Sox and making it your first listen today. I really do always appreciate it. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. That show is great. It goes over every game that took place that day, so you don't have to continue to check your ESPN app for scores. So make sure you tune into that next. Like I always say, you know the drill. Keep the faith. Go Red Sox, and I'll catch you on the flip side.